word you use?
Spoilers.
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 Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers.
I like that word.
I thought you might.
Hello everyone and welcome to Review Who, and today I will be looking at the first Dalek story, aptly titled The Daleks. Of all the Doctor Who monsters that have been seen over the years, the Daleks are arguably the most famous. Which is appropriate when you consider that apart from the Doctor, Susan and the TARDIS itself, they were one of the first alien races to be seen in the series. Despite the production wanting no robots, or BEMs, bug-eyed monsters, the Daleks actually managed to capture both of these things whilst at the same time completely turning these ideas on their heads. A new craze was born, the Dalek mania of the 60s had started, and it makes you wonder, if the Daleks had never been created, would Doctor Who be as popular as it is today? For Doctor Who's first outing into real sci-fi, the story holds up very well, whilst at a 7-part story, which is not something uncommon for Doctor Who, it does feel like the pacing of this story is a little bit drawn out at times. Luckily, this is countered by the first episode being so surrounded in mystery. This helps put the audience on the same level as the Doctor and his companions as to where they are and what is going to happen, and it means when something surprising does happen, the audience is just as surprised as those on screen. As such, despite the pacing issue of later episodes, it does keep the audience hooked and making them want to know exactly how the story is going to end. The story itself sets up many ongoing plot arcs for subsequent Dalek stories, namely in this case the war between the Thals and the Daleks and the mystery surrounding their origins as Kaleds. However, it would be many years later when we discovered their true origins and who created them. But that's for another episode. Having re-watched this episode when writing this review, it's actually quite hard to pick out any particularly favourite pieces of acting. I think it's worth saying that the acting of Peter Hawkins and David Graham, who voiced the Daleks in this episode and would also later go on to other roles in Doctor Who in future, they really helped set the groundwork and the tone for future Dalek voice actors in the years to come for the show. The acting in this episode is rather mixed at times. The acting of the humanoids on screen comes across very well, particularly a scene in episode 5 where Ian uses hostage tactics to convince the pacifist Thals to fight against the Daleks, proving that they will fight for things that they care about.
So there is something you'll fight for?
When it comes to the Daleks themselves and those interacting with them, the acting does seem quite off at times, although, to be fair, this does lead to some rather amusing moments. However, to give credit to the actors both inside and outside of the Daleks, having to act towards a faceless prop must be quite a difficult thing to do. Even today, many actors will say that it is incredibly hard to act towards a tennis ball that is later going to become a CGI creation. And even then, the acting surrounding the Daleks doesn't deflect how perfectly they were introduced to the series. For me, scary is what you don't see, and for those that I've talked to that saw this when it was on television for the very first time, the combination of the suspenseful music, Jacqueline Ford's horrified scream, and the fact that you never get to see the monster until the next episode made the Daleks' initial appearance at the end of episode 1 a truly terrifying moment. It has been a long-standing joke / fact that Raymond Cusick, who designed the original look of the Daleks, got the idea from salt and pepper shakers being pushed around a table. However, this is not quite as true as people believe. Whilst he has said that to demonstrate how they moved during a meeting at the BBC canteen, he did indeed push a salt or pepper shaker across a table. However, the actual inspiration for their shape came from seeing a man sitting in a chair, knowing that this was how they would have to be moved by the people in them. The idea for their movement came from seeing either women in a ballroom gown or Georgian state dancers. There are conflicting evidence reports over this. Regardless of which one he actually saw, the idea came about when he noticed that the floor-length hemline of their clothes obscured the movement of their feet and gave them the appearance as if they were gliding across the floor. I guess now we know why the Daleks in the asylum could be so easily mistaken for dancers. As with many early episodes of Doctor Who, this story is well worth seeing because it marks the beginning of a landmark in the history of the show. And whilst it does feel a little drawn out at times, the moments of suspense and plot development help hold the story together and keep the audience interested. At the very least, it's worth watching for the Daleks and the beginning of their impact on the show, which of course will make future Dalek stories in Doctor Who popular with an ever-changing audience. What is there left to say about this story other than it's extermin excellent? So much for never saying that again. And that brings to an end another episode of Review Who. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, favourite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.